The Lakers traded for Russell Westbrook, and part of that trade sent KCP, Montrezl Harrell, Kyle Kuzma, and the 22nd pick in the draft to the Wizards. The Wizards also just signed Spencer Dinwiddie to a 3-year deal, I believe. Now when we look at Washington's starting lineup, it's Dinwiddie, Beal, KCP, Hachimura, Gafford. Their bench is Kuzma, Harrell, Kispert, Bertans, Advia, Neto, Aaron Holiday, Thomas Bryant coming off an ACL. They have a lot of depth. And this begs the question, if you're Bradley Beal, would you ask out, or do you think, no, you know what, this team, it has depth. I think Dinwiddie can fill in that Russell Westbrook role in terms of averaging 20 and 6. I'm going to stick it out with this team in Washington because I think we're going in the right direction, or do you want out? You still want to be traded?
Well, it all depends on if he wants to win. Like, does he want to win a championship? Does he want to be considered one of those guys in the league, the elite? I think this roster is the perfect situation to prove how good he really is. I think this is a roster where he can show, yeah, I can carry this roster to the playoffs. I can be that guy. Like you said, this roster has a lot of depth, a lot of wing depth, a lot of guard depth, a lot of big man depth. So this team is loaded with a bunch of really good players, and they have one all-star, and Bradley Beal coming into the situation is probably looking at it like, I can probably show that I'm really one of these guys in the league. I mean, he got 1 year left. I think he'll be a free agent next year anyways. So you got 1 year left to prove who you are and then go into free agency with a bit of leverage. Like, I took this team to the playoffs. But if I'm him, I'm thinking, like, if I want to win a championship, if I want to be competitive, I'm nearing the end of my prime. If I want to be competitive, I want to win in this league. I want to get them all NBA teams. I want to be known as one of the best players in the league. I don't think Washington is the place to showcase that talent.
I'm 100% out on Washington. You mentioned the depth that they have. It's a lot of average to at most above average depth, in my opinion.
So like the Lakers.
That's your prerogative.
I think they never mind.
Yo, Washington's depth might be better than the Lakers. Outside of Russ, LeBron, AD.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
Because the depth that they had are depth that we gave them.
How much better is Melo than Kuzma right now?
Significantly.
I don't think he's better than Rui right now.
Say that one more time.
Rui? Hachimura? Yeah, I don't think he's better than Rui right now.
Is Dwight better
just
than
inconsistent.
Gafford?
Hell no.
No, Gafford's really good. But it's, like I said, a lot to average to above average. He's the best player, star player. Dinwiddie, he's definitely above average ball player. Has a torn ACL. Who knows how he's really going to come back and respond. You hit it right in the nose. If he wants to prove he's that guy, he sticks it out. If he wants to win a championship, he has to go elsewhere. This is not a team that you compete for a championship. There are better teams in the East than the Wizards right now, and that's obvious. That's a firm fact. The obvious four, Nets, Milwaukee, the Heat, Philadelphia, better than them. Hawks, better than them. Knicks, better than them. Celtics, better than them. I could keep going. It's just this roster at the ceiling that they're looking at is a play-in. And if I'm Beal, I'm getting up there in age. I know that I have my contract expiring next season. You could look out for the Wizards because clearly he has some loyalty to them. Tell them to trade me so they can at least get some kind of compensation before I up and out of here and leave in free agency, and you don't get a dime from me. This roster is not going to get them anything near a championship, not even out of the first round, maybe not even out of the play-in. So I'm completely out on Washington. You could say whatever you want about the depth of this roster, but it's not good enough to do anything.
I'm not out on Washington. I think this is going to be a competitive team. I don't know about playoffs because the East is extremely tough right now. But they brought in Montrezl Harrell, who was a Sixth Man of the Year candidate before he went to LA and was ruined by whatever the Lakers got going on there. He was perfect with the Clippers, fit their identity perfectly.
In the playoffs, he was garbage.
He was, no doubt about it. He's a bad defender.
Even on the Clippers, he was garbage.
Yeah, speaking of that.
Washington last year was 9th in bench points with 39 points per game. And Harrell, Kuzma, and Bertans, they already fill that bench point void. They might be the best bench in the NBA next season. Last year, they were 17th in offensive rating and 19th in defensive rating with 30th in opponent points per game. I think this year they got better defensively with KCP. I think Gafford starting, if he does start the full year, is a good rim protector and defender. You're hoping Hachimura takes a third-year leap. He's shown some flashes. He's still a very good mid-range shooter, but he can't really step out from three consistently and hit that shot enough. But then their bench, Kuzma's a good defender. He can get his bucket. Kispert is not. Harrell is not. Bertans is not. So defensively, they will struggle. I look at this depth in this lineup. I kind of wonder where that leaves Advia. I don't think Advia is as good as any of these guys. What would you play if you want to win now? Are you playing Advia over Kuzma or Harrell or Kispert or Bertans or Neto or Bryant?
At this point, I've seen what they are, truthfully. So if you start losing games, why not put him in the lineup?
Advia averaged 6 points last year.
You gotta look at it like this. You picked him in the lottery. You want to develop him. He's obviously a part of your future, and the front office knows they're not in a win now situation. Like, they're not gonna win anything, so he's gonna have to get some minutes somewhere in there. So somebody's gonna have to take a seat, whether it be Neto. I don't think Kuz, he's still young, so I don't think he's gonna take a seat. But somebody's gonna have to sit down and get obvious some minutes because he's a part of your plan. So you have to play him, whether it be 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 30, 10. He's gonna have to get some minutes somewhere in that rotation. They might have to go like 10, 11 deep, honestly.
So what number of options Kuzma on this team?
If he's off the bench,
fourth or fifth.
And where was
Because I think it's Beal, Dinwiddie, Hachimura.
Does that sound familiar to you?
I think Harrell and then Kuzma.
Does that sound familiar?
Sounds like L.A. He was
LA.
third.
You think so?
Yeah, the role he was supposed to be was third.
100% agree there. 100% agree.
Probably
there.
like fourth after Schroeder, though.
And what happened?
He was garbage.
He was trash.
Very inconsistent.
So how can I expect him to go to a worse team and be better?
L.A. is not Washington.
But I'm expecting
Beal isn't LeBron James.
So you expect Kuzma
Hey, wait,
to
what is that supposed to
Yeah,
mean?
I know. I'm wondering where you're going with
Expectations are much different in L.A. They were in win
Well,
now
I
mode.
think you could have just used Washington versus LA. I don't think you had to bring in LeBron versus Beal.
that. But I understand now, and now you explained it, I get what you were going for.
Yeah. LeBron demands greatness.
Of course.
L.A. demands consistency,
Calling
greatness.
Beal a loser?
And then
The Wizards are losers.
yeah,
which
I'm
is
not
a
calling
fact.
Beal a loser. I'm saying he's not. Beal isn't the type of character that's going to demand a lot from Kuzma. LeBron demands that.
So
think-
what's their identity also?
I don't think they have one. They just brought in Wes Unseld Jr. If I was Beal, I would stick it out 1 year because I think this team does have depth. Dinwiddie, when healthy, has shown he can be a good player. I'd stick it out 1 year with Washington, see where they go.
Well, I mean, he got 1 year left.
But that's it.
Then leave
After
in free
this-
agency.
Yeah, that's why I said, like,
But then if you're the Wizards, are you content with that?
I think
You
they
have
truly
to be.
believe they can keep him.
They do because they can offer him the most money.
And I think
but
he's a
that's been
money
a
guy.
lot of players. I mean, fair. That he definitely has been a money guy up until this point for sure. But at the same time, you don't think he's getting tired of being garbage?
Is he? He could have asked for a trade.
He probably could.
He could have been asked for one.
He's been saying he wants to stick it out. He wants to stay. So is he? Like, is he having the mellow vibe where he just wants the money,
Bread.
wants to stay? I'm getting the most money here. I'm the best player here. I get to average 30 points anytime I want.
That's the tricky part of it because
Or-
at this point, the
'cause-
Wizards are stuck in a constant cycle of mediocrity.
Or he can leave, rock it out this year, and then leave, and then go see what free agency is looking like, and go try to win.
which I think he should do 100%. But at the same time, if you're the organization, you're screwed because then your franchise is really in shambles if it already wasn't.
I mean, they have I wouldn't say a lot, but they have some things to look at.
I think Gafford, Hachimura,
And then
Kispert,
But
Advia.
like I said, there's just so many other teams in the
there's
East
some
that are
alright
just
things to look at. Okay.
they're just better than them as a whole and are consistently getting better year in, year out.
Well, I mean, let's be realistic. They'll probably they have their first round pick, right?
They do.
I'm guessing they'll get a lottery pick.
I agree with that.
And they got first from LA.
But then let's say they get a lottery pick. Is Beal happy with being a
well,
lottery
even if
pick?
he's gone, you still have
Because that's
the lottery
ultimately what it
pick.
comes down to.
They also got Isaiah Todd.
Yeah, if he's gone, you still have that lottery pick. So you got somebody you're gonna bring in, and we just work from there. I mean, like they're not in a listen. They didn't. He wants to stay. He's claimed he wants to stay. If he goes in free agency, he doesn't resign. All right, but at least you have some good players where you can at least be a manageable team where it's like you walk in, you're not gonna get blown out every night.
So what's your expectation of them, seed wise?
Playing
Both of you.
team.
No,
No.
I think they'll be like no. I'm not saying he's wrong. I'm saying I don't think they'll be a play-in team. I think they'll be 14, 13 seed.
What the fuck was that?
Nah,
That's a, you think they are worse than Toronto?
No doubt about that.
I don't think there's like a huge doubt about it, honestly.
I wouldn't say no doubt about it, but I think Toronto's better.
I think you look at Siakam, Beal, you'd rather have Beal.
But as a
That's
complete
it.
roster.
After that, though, that's it.
Van Vliet, Dinwiddie, that's just really close.
And like I said, Wizards have no
if I
identity.
put the roster in check, it would probably be Beal and then about 4 Toronto Raptors.
And then Toronto's better coached. Toronto actually is a defensive-minded team. Wizards are whatever you can call them.
OG over Dinwiddie?
I would. Coming off an ACL injury, Dinwiddie's a weird. He's good. If he's not, if you want to have Dinwiddie over OG, it's fine. But after Dinwiddie, it's like OG's probably better than the rest of their roster.
I think Washington is just an offensive firepower. They're just gonna have a lot of offense. Last year they were that way too.
I mean, you basically traded Westbrook for a bunch of guys that didn't show up in the playoffs.
Yeah, the regular season is the playoffs though.
That's true. I mean, Kuzma didn't show up in the regular season that much either.
And that's a
He
firm
averaged
fact.
12 a game and shot good. He wasn't bad.
What did he shoot?
He
I'm
shot.
wondering.
He shot about 44% from the field and 35% from three.
Let's double check that just to make sure.
I know he averaged 12 to 13 a game.
I know
though.
he definitely averaged that week 12. 12 is cool.
I was 13 actually. It was 12.9.
44, 36, 69 clip. So
Yeah, he wasn't horrible. It's just LA. Everything is so magnified that
It's
it looks
LA.
like he was the worst player on the court.
sometimes
He just
did.
when we need him, he was
That is
definitely the
true.
worst
Sometimes.
player.
But that's what I'm saying. Those moments are magnified where
Yeah.
you go to a team like Washington or a smaller market, nobody cares about you. So because of that, nobody's talking about your ill-advised moments. I think that's going to help Kuzma refreshen a bit, kind of be more
Hopefully,
comfortable.
because
So you have Washington in a playoff?
I think they could make it.
over
I think, man,
It's tough.
Indiana,
no, Indiana's. I think they're a playoff team. I think
Charlotte.
I think they could be better than Charlotte. Yeah, I think they could be better than Charlotte. So I think you can have Washington over Charlotte, Toronto, Washington. They're in that same tier to me. And then the other tier, like the bottom tier, is
You think-
Orlando,
You
Cleveland.
think
about
last
the
year's
Bulls?
team was better than this year's team?
The Bulls are 7th seed.
So
You think last year's team was better than this year's team?
Yes, depth wise, absolutely.
are
I
the
do.
Cavaliers better
Yeah.
than the Wizards right now?
No.
No. I think the bottom tier of the East is the Cavs,
The Magic.
the Orlando Magic. The
Detroit.
next tier, which isn't like horribly bad, is going to be Detroit, 13th seed, 12, 11, 9, 12, 11, 10 is tricky.
It is true.
Listen, I look for Boston to be in, no doubt. They were the 7. Pacers will be in. They were the 9. I think Charlotte will definitely improve this season. They were 10. I think the Bulls will make the playoffs. They were 11. The Raptors were 12. I think they'll be in the play-in as well.
Ooh, it's going to get tricky.
I don't know
Raptors,
how.
Hornets, Wizards, I think will fill out the 10 to 12 seeds. Then from 9 and up, I see like Pacers, Celtics, Bulls, Heat, and then of course the top teams in the East.
So basically, it's going to be a dogfight for the 10.
Yeah, but it depends. I mean, because if the Pacers get injured, they got injured last year, they fell off. So they're just an injury away. I think the Wizards have a lot of depth, so they can be a playing team, but I wouldn't favor them. But they can be a playing team. I don't think they're going to be at the bottom of the East. I think they're going to be
I
competitive.
think being at the bottom in the East isn't going to be too bad, though, because like you just said, 10, 11, 12 is going to be a dogfight. Toronto, Charlotte, and the Wizards are going to be fighting. And even Detroit is going to be competitive. So I think saying they're going to be 14 for 13 seed isn't bad because the East is pretty deep.
That's still bad.
Not really.
When you have Beal, it is bad.
It's trash.
That is, even regardless of the competition, if you finish 14th, you finish 14th.
And he's gone. You cannot expect him back if you finish 13, 14.
That is true.
If you miss the playoffs, he's gone.